Oh, there we go. So, hi. Oh, for just a moment, I thought the chat just ended. Not the chat, the live just ended. Hello, everyone. Ooh, really nervous. Do you guys see everything well? Just one check. See me? Perfect. So, hi, everyone. I'm Coco. I've been participating in GAL maybe since 21, 22. I tend towards Himikachi, Himikachi Cyber. Feel like I'm still dabbling here and there. Time just gets really mushy when you have ODD and the pandemic took away like a few years. As you see, I'm a licensed cosmetologist, a Marxist-Leninist, a J fashion enthusiast. I'm originally from the Chicagoland area. I was spoiled like by community, and even though I was pretty much like blind to it, and I was at a lot of resources. And now I've lived in the Kansas City metro since 2022. I've been into alternative fashion since I was 11. Didn't really have the words for it. Not in a fetishization type of way, but like in a, oh my god, holy crap, people can actually dress like this every single day. And I saw people as walking pieces of art. And Gyaru specifically hit different for me. Like, this wasn't a cosplay for a convention, obviously. Like, daily expression, like going to a convenience store and like full cord and make, and doing your make for 45 minutes or whatever, how long it takes you just to hang out with them all. Just to me, it was I see it as like refusing to be invisible in the public space. Unfortunately, I couldn't really participate right away. Like, for me, there was like a gap between seeing and doing. You know, executive dysfunction, sensory stuff, life difficulties, trauma responses. By 2019, I was practicing beauty, but specifically with Kim DeGal. I mainly 21, 22 when I really just started really getting into that. I learned through intensive scrolling TikTok, Instagram, saving scans, following models. Not really any like proper channels or anything like that. Like, just collecting story and letting my brain build a library. And while I'm doing this, and still kind of am doing this, I was watching social media drama tear people apart for not being gal enough. And the imposter syndrome has been really hitting. Thank you. And I just always wonder, will I ever be gal enough? Will it ever belong? These questions just like literally lived in my head rent free. Imagine that. It also made me wonder. It made me ask, why should I listen to the idea of people being down on me when it wouldn't be healthy or effective? When they don't even know me. Like, they don't know my whole story, but they only know a snapshot of it. You see? When criticism isn't teaching anything and isn't really building anything, it's just tearing down. I haven't really been able to really rest about it. So, like, I just wondered even further, like, why is this energy going towards tearing each other down instead of building something? So, something really niche, I'd say. I became a Marxist-Leninist last year. I also have something I'm reading off, referencing my thing because I made sure I was writing something because I wanted to try something to go off of while I'm talking with you guys today. So I became a Marxist-Leninist last year. I don't expect you guys to know anything about Marxism or Leninism here, but so becoming one last year. This means I'm new to theory. I'm new to the instinct, not new to the instinct. I wanted to understand really like my role and what I was participating in beyond the surface here. Why the drama kept happening? Why drama kept happening? What Gyaru fashion meant as a material practice? What working class resistance actually looked like in daily life, not just consumption. And I still feel like a baby in this community. I haven't been doing this for 20 years. It's literally been like 4 to 5 years at most. Honestly, I'm not. So I don't constantly have the energy to get a makeup in court. I don't speak much Japanese. But I think that's why this nuance take matters. New people are going to keep finding Gyaru. How we frame it determines whether it becomes another aesthetic to consume or something with actual teeth. So I started developing this. Gyaru as class consciousness, not solely as consumption. And just a quick note on the title. I'm using class consciousness here loosely. Not the Marxist sense of revolutionary political organization, but the process of working class youth, building collective identity, mutual recognition, and aesthetic resistance. Think solidarity, I would say, surrounding shared identity formation, but not necessarily the overthrowing capitalism. I'll be honest, though, maybe that as well, but for legal reasons, that's a joke. Otherwise, it's not because I have all the answers here, because I think the questions are worth asking out loud. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I started in Chicagoland. I was spoiled that community, like I said. Now that I'm in Kansas City and building so niche and so much more niche than the typical beauty business, I'm building my mobile beauty practice, Coco's Curry Artistry, that I'm looking to hopefully in the future, transform into a worker-owned cooperative. But first, let's get into this. And let's address the frame. Gyaru has been said not to be a political movement. But what alternative fashion movement is not political? It's a rebellion against traditional Japanese standards. What about going against norms isn't political? Here you have the traditional ideal in Japan. Pale, dark hair, subtle, natural, designed to blend in respectability. On the other hand, oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, there it is again. On the other hand, you have Gyaru, Gangro for right here as well. Extreme tan, bleached hair, dramatic makeup, refusing to disappear. Like, to me, this is not just like an aesthetic preference. It is a rebellion against traditional beauty standards. Going against the norms that enforce class, race, gender hierarchies is inherently political. So this is literally a visual refusal we're about to trace back to its material roots. Today, we'll explore historical materialism, Gyaru's origins in Japan's bubble economy collapse. We'll also do a labor analysis, disability justice, beauty work as unreached labor, sensory relation as collective care, did I say that right? I think I said that right. And to the cultural backlash, cultural hegemony. Oh, I'm trying to think. Again, that visibility, and to finally see how we can and my words when it comes to collective alternatives, building outside the consumption. Quick primer. Historical materialism looks at the economic conditions that shape culture and consciousness. So that Karl Marx summed it as social being determines consciousness. Our materiality creates our worldview, not the reverse. And I would be also looking through this through a dialectical material lens as well, which is just how conditions drive change to contradictions and change, like two opposing things that drive change are multiple. So when I look at Gyaru, I'm asking what economic crisis produced this aesthetic? Well, the subculture, realistically to speak. What class tension created this conscious? Let's start with the bubble burst. Here we are. So in 1991, the set bubble bursts. The lost decades begin. Lifetime employment disappears and is placed to feed the part-time, temporary but no benefits, no future. By the mid-2000s, 34.4% of the youth working part-time by the mid, no benefits, no future. So, actually, not bad. It's actually about 40% on here. But nonetheless, the age range, yes, 2 million for employment, what the Japanese government called employment ice age for young people. Marx wrote that social being determines consciousness, not the other way around. The young women who became Gyaru weren't just expressing abstract creativity. This just wasn't just unemployment, it was structured precarity. Okay, oh, yes. Actually, no, my bad. I apologize. I wasn't ready. So, young women, unstructured time, living with their parents. Not because they were parasized, because they were structurally excluded from stable work. No office to go to, no workplace, community, no settlement identity, just time and the street. So yeah, Shibuya 109 came the territory. As much as I wish I can go one day. But one day will come. It's not just a mall. Like for them, it was a third place. Like neither home, like it was not a home, not work, just a collective space. So they were obviously occupying these public spaces, displaying themselves and building networks outside their family, home, whatnot. So yes, then the class trajectory. So 1991 to 93, the elite private school students, you will have Kogaru. I don't think this is actually from the 90s, but to me, this gave a good starter to idea for the differences. Like the late school private school students from wealthy families who could afford Shibuya's prices at the time. But when the economy crashed and wealthy originators fled Shibuya, lower middle class youth, what Japanese called gamete, which I wish I kind of had a chance to put this down, and it transformed the aesthetic into ganguro, which took what was expensive and made it accessible. But ganguro, from 1997 to 2000, was that working class reclamation. No uniforms to modify, everything to make extreme tan, lipstick, bleached hair, a deliberate counter aesthetic to the respectable Japanese femininity. Like pale skin as a marker, rejected. Natural beauty standards rejected. They built a visual language from scratch. Yeah, this was definitely working class youth, like rejecting Salaman culture through exaggerated consumption and street presence. And now going forward to the labor analysis. So this is beauty as unwaged work. So feminists like Silva Federici argues that capitalism depends on unwaged labor. I'm also going to say this also as a licensed cosmetologist as well. Like housework, it comes back to Silvia Federici. I was actually Federici. Housework, childbearing, caring for bodies, work that doesn't get paid, doesn't get counted, keeps the system running. And honestly, beauty works the same. Unwaged reproductive labor, making ourselves and other presentable under a system that calls our efforts vanity. Ghetto styling is work. Significant skilled, technical work. It's not vanity, it's labor. Specifically, non-alienated labor. Self-directed, expressive, communally meaningful. Take hair bleaching, for example. You got your hair structure. Let's see, the hair structure with cuticle, cortex, medulla. Dark red, brown, all the way to pale yellow. Like, with that being said, you know, when you're trying to get your hair to blonde, oxidation does not care what it's destroying. If you stop at orange, for example, you likely will end up frying the hair. And the knowledge to take all the way to pale yellow without destroying the structure, that's embodied technical skill, shared in community, not solely sold by the beauty industry. So tell me, like, makeup is the same story, too. Like, you can get 45 minutes and 90 minutes for a full gal face before you make, or whatever your estimated time is. Like, you have multiple products. I'm also going to go over to this, too. As well, you get multiple products, techniques, layers, identity transformation, sensory regulation. They're repetitive practice, tech focus, technique application that provides like a very calming structure for their neurodivergent nervous system. You know, living in a world that's definitely not built for them. So this is where it leads to disability justice activist Mia Mignus writes about access intimacy, which is that feeling when someone understands that your access needs and is enthusiastic about meeting them. And that's where the disability justice meets labor analysis. Neurodivergent people are not broken for our coping mechanisms. Capitalism is broken for isolating us, especially in calling our coping mechanisms excessive. Like the whatever time you're using to do your makeup, the 45 minutes or however long, you know, that is the work. That is the care that you're giving yourself. You are regulating your nervous system that way. That is also what makes it political, because it is tied to your personal livelihood. And not only that, you also have you're documenting this process online as well, or wherever you're documenting it, where you have it. So it's not just going to be the results. It, like, when you're photographing the process, that makes it visible work that capitalist femininity would render invisible. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, it definitely can apply. I mean, you're making, I have to say, like, you are putting like effort in. Like, you're moving yourself. Like, everything you do is some sort of labor. Like, even with having DIY skills such as, wait, actually, yeah. Oh, not there yet. My bad. I put the down DIY skills stuff. So, like, even with DIY skills are very important with, like, you know, in any alt culture, like clothing modification, accessory creation, thrifting, hairstyling. Like, you are taking that back from the fashion and beauty industries. Like, they're tactics of everyday life, not just passive consumption. Let's see. I ended up. I'm still so nervous. But I was like, yeah. So far, I believe we've unstable the material conditions that produce Gyaru. We've done the labor analysis, made the work visible with the hours of some of the chemistry, and the skill that goes into gal. Now, I want to talk about what happens when working class women start occupying public space looking like that. And how the reaction, why the reaction is never just about fashion. So when Gyaru hit peak visibility of the 90s, the Japanese media lost its mind, collective mind. TV segments with dramatic enactments, magazine exposés, talk shows featuring experts diagnosing young women as mentally ill, and the term degenerate got used a lot. So, researcher Kinsella documents how Japanese media constructed the schoolgirl as a social problem in 1990s and 2000s. So not because they're what they were doing, but what they represented. Young women refusing to their assigned role in the economic order. Like the panic was really just about male anxieties relating to gender equality and female emancipation. I don't know if I said that right. But here's what was actually really happening. Young working class women with no access to stable employment, no path to good wife, wise mother, ideal that Japanese capitalism still paid lip service to. Okay. Still paid lip service to. We're building something else. They reclaim value, aesthetic, social, communal, outside the structures that had rejected them. And that means the dominant culture. What do you think? What do I think? The dominant culture saw that as a threat. So when I should need to check that. Okay, I'm not there yet. So there's also the concept from Antonia Gramsci of cultural hegemony that could help us here, with the ruling class not just ruling by force. It rules through consent that makes its values appear natural, universal, and common sense. You know, Japanese pale skin is beautiful, modesty is feminine, long straight black hair, or long straight hair as professional. So when Gyaru rejected, they weren't just like rejecting these standards; they saw these rules as arbitrary, like constructed, even it's class based. Like why? I mean, it makes sense why the reaction was so violent. Not because of their fashion, because they exposed the machinery. So with that, obviously what Gyaru says, no to all of that. Refuse the terms built counter values. And this didn't end today. My apologies. This didn't end in the 2000s. Walk into any American workplace with brightly colored hair, natural black worn and protective styles, visible tattoos, with excessive makeup. And quickly, professionalism comes to be known as exclusion. So, for example, when a school bans locks and when a workplace requires natural makeup, it is the same logic and same panic. Like, professionalism is never neutral. Like, that is just class, race, gender, standard dress as common sense. Like, professionalism is harmful. And here's when it also gets even trickier. And just so you guys know that I know every magazine still exists now, but for chronological order reasons, bear with me. Like 90s, 2000, Gyaru had the magazines, but obviously they were imperfect and still collectively consumed. And I understand they're still consumed today. However, we have platforms now too that we go off of. Like, and Nick Schnick, I can't even say his name. Schnick describes platform capitalism as a system that extracts value from our activity. Every scroll, every post, every conflict, the algorithm does not care about us because it rewards drama, punishes collectivity, and drama is just cheap engagement. Like, how many times have you seen drama in the Gyaru community blow up? Someone performing outrage, calling out beginners, calling out the posers even, and just, I don't know if anyone's really monetized. I can't really see if anyone has been monetizing community conflict, but that is something that happens in communities online as well. Like, the algorithm loves drama. Like, and unfortunately, the algorithm doesn't really reward like the hard work of teaching someone to bleach their hair safely, hours of archive maintenance, and discords where people actually share skills without clout chasing. I don't know if these do actually appear, but they just don't appear often, at least on my end. So that's pretty much our material condition now. So, like, yeah, I mean, communities are still building infrastructure. Like, archiving community spaces, like we have Gyaru. I love them. I love what they do. Scanning egg nuts, sparkles, like all these Go discords, like all these communities right here. They're preserving what that algorithm will not show you, but necessarily. Like, we have independent discords where you can still connect with others, skill sharing, like all without that clout chasing. Because not because like they're elitist or anything. Because we have to be protecting the commons, like, to put it like that. So let me see. Oh, sorry about that. Here's what I want you guys to also sit with. I recall in the 2010s, what I've learned, like, Gyaru died, but there's definitely has been a resurgence. And I love seeing that. From the bottom of my heart, I love seeing that because that's how I'm getting into it more, because I am older, whether I like it or not. I wish I got into this stuff personally earlier. But, like, it's been coming back, like, past few years, because we know that nobody stopped wanting it. It's being built by people who never stopped wanting it. So it looks like gatekeeping from the outside, because I know this is something I've definitely noticed, the discourse around myself. Like, what does that look like? To me, sometimes it looks like it's defense of what's being rebuilt. People who remember what's lost, trying to hold on to what's left while new energy flows in. And sometimes I'll be honest, like, sometimes I look at even newer gals, I'm like, kind of like lost, honestly. Let me see. Oh, sorry about that. Not ready for that now. But I definitely want to also show you guys my implications as well. But bit lost in sauce. That's what I want to go back off of. Sometimes, not all of them, but I see the drift is really real. Like I feel like on social media, especially, it's more aesthetic, less material understanding. Like, the social media overload doesn't help. Like, social media has constant information overload. Like, not really much time to really just sit back with the history. Like, there's a really strong tension between revival and forgetting. So if to be honest, if you're new and hitting resistance, you gotta realistically ask. Sometimes you gotta ask what that resistance is protecting. Sometimes it's ego, sometimes it's grief, sometimes it's just people have been burned before. You don't really know. The door isn't like always about you, and it's not really always fair to new gals, the baby gals, and not always wrong either. That's another part of the tension I find really real myself. And also, I've really wanted to drop some implications for participation as well, because this is just from my POV. I think it would be really useful to share. Because I don't feel, since like so much of this online comes in like overload. I just feel like researching before, like researching enough, studying history enough, studying even the subsets you're interested in, like before buying, or see what you have in your closet, like even practicing with the makeup you have, or there's so many ways to go about this. I just feel like when you are going to participate in a subculture, it has to come with, it has to be mindful. You have to have a good idea of what you're coming into. Like, also honor the vet gals. I've fallen short here myself, but definitely with civic questions with offensive value, not just demands, which that's why I felt like I've fallen short myself. Build cooperative infrastructure, like felt like this is something I could have worded better, but worker owned, just average people owned. So it could be like a Gyaru stuff pretty much. Like collectively governed, where gals are having equal say, like democratic equal say what happens in that. Document your labor, like you're making what you're doing visible. Like I think social media is still a great resource for that still, especially on Discord and Instagram and whatnot. And I think that with understanding history and understanding your participation and not underestimating your participation, your participation can change the culture. So I personally would say that as a Marxist, like analyzing gal and being gal myself, participating, I really want to see gals to start walking more in the gray area and allowing Gyaru to evolve. Like evolution without the dilution of Gyaru's history to me is really important. I value history a lot. So I actually want to open it up for discussion. So before we open fully, I've shared some of my diagnosis if I haven't already. I have like complex PTSD, ADHD, but I just want to make you guys sure that this is like an endemic and political discussion, not necessarily a support group. So I won't be taking questions about personal trauma details. And I would like to ask everyone to keep our discussion based on the structural analysis we've built today. Yes. So it has been, how long? A half hour already? So I realistically do want to hear from you guys. Not just like questions about what I've said, your own examples, your struggles, your ideas. So I'm going to pose even 2 questions, and we'll take them one at a time. So, what are your local examples of fashionist resistance? Think about your high school. Was there a dress code? People broke. What did breaking rules mean? Breaking it mean? Think about your city. Who's taking up space visually? What's the reaction? Like, I also have my phone here, so I'll also like look. It definitely. What was that one? Let me get this part ready. So we do still have some decent amount of time. I'm surprised. Yeah. Definitely thrift stores. You're at least like not feeding into bigger companies, corporate stuff. Yeah. Swap meet. Swap. What's that? What? I just brought up a new word. I said swap. What's that? I said swap. Yeah. Swap meet and coffee meets are really good alternatives. I've only mainly seen them on people talk about online. I have not had an opportunity to really go to one. Like, I have an idea of them. Oh, what are project pans? I was also thinking like, oh, yeah, using makeup and all the way till you hit pan. Ah, okay, okay, I like that. Oh yeah, that makes sense. My bad. Oh, like that makes sense. Yeah, I always use the heck of everything that I own, especially my makeup, especially shoes. Like, I tend to be someone that really uses their stuff a lot. I feel like things we can probably like have, like, especially as a professional. And I still feel like low key I'm budding, but I've been like licensed for like the past since like 21, but that's a whole other thing. I'm like not new to like systemic things, not being like what's the word? Being like harmed by systemic issues. Like I feel like stuff like even like sliding scale services I've seen like people do. I've seen salon professionals do in LA. Like we're still like living under capitalism, so oh sorry, I went ahead a little too much to the second question, but oh, I went a little too ahead. I was just thinking about the second question because I'm looking at it like, but for me, fashion, I need to answer this myself because like for me, fashion resistance, like besides in my intro, I just find that being able to stand out in a room than blending in. That's something I've always admired. Whether I'm not in gal or am in gal, but something about me that has to stand out in the room, like no exception, and brings like joy to my face. I also want to make sure we get the chance to answer the next question. So let me know if you guys obviously the next one would be how do we build collective alternatives to beauty capitalism? Also wanted to show off what I did with this little brain. Isn't it cute? Is one thing I really love the second question the most, in my honest opinion, is because I really like gave like some examples. Like, well, one example was sliding scale services, and another thing I was thinking like tool libraries. Like, if you're a beauty professional, cooperative salons, or like you also through the means of mutual aid, like which is hand in hand with going to swap meets even, like, or like donating your giving your clothes to somebody, or helping somebody with their makeup free of charge. Or like, and with skill sharing, you guys can people can trade skills of what they know and you don't know, and they know something you want to know, vice versa. Like in your like communities, like I see what some of you guys have said what worked with swap meets. Oh, sometimes normie stuff, but some of it can be together or not. Right? Yeah, I mean, you never know with a piece of clothing, like what you can turn that into. Even like if you had like scraps from like something else, like ribbons, you can sew on or hot glue on. Yeah, I can imagine school training would be difficult, but it does take. I mean, it takes some courage. I feel like under capitalism, more people, if you're not a certain way, you're definitely more likely to be more. You're not mean like the status quo. You're likely, in some way, systemically going to be more isolated. I mean, as long as I feel like you're doing treasures with people, like yeah, like in the J fashion community, even, or like if you also cosplay out of J fashion and that fashion that way as well. You're gonna dance a little comedic effect. Like, hmm. But I definitely feel like reducing our like dependence on money for access to beauty is could be one of them. Even like when it comes to skill sharing, you're like you don't need to pay in to share your skills with others. Which when you're just skill trading, for example, with that are your peers, you're sharing horizontally instead of like buying them for like, well, I'll say vertically, like even platforms where that can't be monetized, and none of this is going to be pure. We're still living under capitalism. Yeah, I agree. I've always tried to find instances where I'm also trying to participate in the community. I feel like that's definitely been a definite alternative to like participating in, I'll just say capitalism, not just beauty capitalism. Well, technically it's beauty under capitalism, because yeah, one major thing that I've recognized, that the first like contradiction towards everything that we all love and know or we're used to, capitalism is just like sucking it out, the life out of it. So do you guys have any questions or anything you like to discuss outside of these two questions? Like any other thoughts that come up? Honestly, I'm gonna answer this also in the with the discussion. I think one of my favorite things about Gal is the taking up space, the rebellion, be wild, be sexy, and how Gal opens up to just really expressing yourself, like getting to explore. I think even, I mean, it also inspired me for this panel as well, because I feel like it'll help me and help. I just help me and help others like delve more into the nuance. Okay. I just told you like four favorite things. I just think my favorite thing is just, oh my god, just the taking up space, like the over the top taking up space. Okay, that's the 2 in 1. I'll say that. Although I don't feel like I look over the top right now, but I just love. I'm working towards the over the top because I am more of like, I feel inspired by over the top, so it makes me want to be over the top and gal, right? Um, I would say actually Hime is my favorite. I love princessy stuff, but I also really like. I know it's more unpopular because Cyber Gal, Cyber Gyaru. Although that was mainly like, I think mainly Model GD that like started that. But I feel like I really love the idea of taking different like aspects of certain substyles that you see work together and eventually being able to make a new one. I mean, I'm the contender of, if you know something well enough, you can probably make something else out of it. You know, like if it's like coherent. Alrighty, it looks like we are also at 9. I'm an hour ahead of you guys, so like it is about to be 20 after 9 for me, 8 for you guys in Mountain Time. Let me see.
Let me know if you want to end early. We can do that.
Okay, thank you. Let me
Yeah.
know. Ready. I'm also gonna give you guys optional reading list of what I've referenced in my PowerPoint today. Hopefully, that's everything that I've referenced. Did I reference here? Yes. So further reading's optional. No need to. Don't have to do it. Definitely, if you guys are interested in like Marx, Karl Marx in particular, this is what I referenced. But definitely, if you're interested in Marxism, particularly, like definitely the principles of communism, or probably be a better start. It's an easier read. But for what I've referenced here, this are the readings I recommend that are optional. So I'm going to lead to closing it here. So, like I mentioned, so what I'm calling for is evolution without dilution. Like, lists of cells grow, communities expand. However, the material roots, the working class resistance, the refusal to disappear, to stay intact. To me, that's the balance. And I would definitely say that Gyaru isn't just about being the cutest, it's refusing to disappear. So that's all. Thank you guys so much for having me.